Looking for a new car or expert service? Visit Limerick Motor Centre, your main Hyundai dealer on the Ballysimon Road. A proud family business for over 30 years, we're Ireland's longest-serving Hyundai dealer. With sales, service, parts and finance all under one roof, our dedicated team delivers value, expertise and customer care you can trust. Call 061 417 141 or visit limerickmotorcentre.ie. Limerick Motor Centre, driving with you for over 30 years.
The impression again we get out with what you put into it, it's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
Not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well, God, Shawty Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Curry. Curry leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it hard. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello and a very happy new year and warm wishes for 2026. It is Treaty Talk. We're here for episode 362 and after an extended Christmas break, myself, Tom Clancy and Matt O'Callaghan of the Weekly Observer and Baystar newspapers are back with you. We're here, of course, in association with Hyundai, the Limerick Motor Centre on the Ballysimon Road, your main Hyundai dealer in Limerick. Matt, happy new year to you. How's all with you?
Good, Tom. Happy New Year to you and everybody, and Happy New Year to all our listeners and viewers. It's fantastic to be back. The break was nice, nevertheless, but we're so deep in it already, and here we are only on the 14th of January. It's absolutely fantastic. I suppose if you look at it across the codes, we're in a final that we didn't expect to be in, a pre-season final. We're coming off a very good performance by our senior footballers. We have two colleges that are in line to contest the Munster Senior Hurling B final. We have our minor Camogie team who have a round of the Munster Minor Championship 1 and are playing in the semi-final at the weekend. And then we have the third level colleges to talk about, Tom. So you'd say January would be a quiet month. There's an awful lot happening in this January, and particularly with the bringing forward by a week, I think, of the commencement of the third level colleges. It means, it's full on into it, and really, really looking forward to it. And certainly we're not spoiled for choice this weekend. There's so much on that's of interest to Limerick GA that it's just absolutely fantastic. It's so early in the year.
It's almost as if there is no off season in Gaelic games at this stage. There's maybe a week or two of Christmas, and it's kind of straight back into it. Certainly from our vantage point, anyway.
No, and we had functions. You were at the Garrisbillan function. I was at the East Limerick function. I was covering the Ballylanders function the other night, which we'll be talking about all three. And it's that time of year again where playing meets celebrating, and look, there's so much activity. Like the GA at the moment already this year. I think, in fairness, Tom, I think this is the fastest start we've ever had because, of course, last year we were a bit spoiled because in that we got extra time off in that we didn't have the pre-seasons, but they're back this year, and Limerick are in line by the 17th, 18th of January to pick up silverware, which, we won't refuse it.
No, we won't. We'll come to the hurling action later in the piece, but we'll start with football this week, and delighted to say we're joined by former Limerick captain Tommy Stack. Tommy, we've been trying to nail you down on the podcast, and 2026 is a new leaf for us, and welcome to Treaty Talk.
Yeah, it's good to be on with you, lads.
You're very welcome, Tom. As Tom said, we have been trying to snooker you, and we've been contriving and conspiring behind your back. Now, how would we get you? But we have you.
Yeah, and it's football. Obviously, we're here to chat with you. Matt mentioned it there, the return of the pre-season competitions. Limerick, I suppose we go straight into it. Really, Limerick used basically two different teams in the two McGrath Cup games. One, which I know you were on your commentary duty for against Tipperary. It was a youthful, experimental team, and then a kind of more seasoned team got a victory over Cork. What did you like from both those games, and was it good that Limerick managed to get even if kind of only a pre-season competition, get a win over Cork under their belt at this time of the year?
Yeah, I enjoyed watching the matches. I suppose the match against Tipperary was tough enough because Tipperary brought quite a strong panel, excellent set of forwards, and they made life very difficult for an understrength. I would say understrength, but inexperienced Limerick team. Um, and it's tough when you have that many inexperienced guys starting together. I'd love to have seen a few, you know, guys who had plenty of experience playing there at centre back, midfield, full back, just to give it a little bit of solidity. But I can still see them wanting to get minutes into the legs and experience into the legs of these new players. And they did that. It mightn't have been the greatest experience they've had, but at the same time, it was good to see them wearing the jersey, and they still would have learned an awful lot. And of course, it's all about development towards the league. It's not necessarily about the McGrath Cup. But the match against Cork then was an excellent match in really, really tough conditions. Way more experienced side, the likes of Barry Coleman coming in their midfield, Danny and James playing in the forward line as well, brought real, someone you could trust up there, someone would hang on to the ball and do the right thing with it more often than not. And yeah, we got a nice score, ended up at 3-11. What I liked most about the whole thing is that I think it was a draw at half time. We were against the wind in the second half, and we continued to take off the points, take the scores, be a threat up the field. And in the last 2 minutes, when it was in the boiler, Limerick got the scores that they don't get sometimes at the end of the games to beat a team like a Cork, which I absolutely loved. So very impressive in the second game, and I'd say a very worthwhile competition for Limerick.
Yeah, and I think the win over Cork, albeit I keep saying it's a pre-season competition, it's a 60-minute game. It isn't, it isn't true reflection of what's to come, but it's absolutely no harm that Limerick get that boost heading into the championship. Now, I know as well, people will be aware that Limerick played Meath actually the day after that Tipperary game in I suppose more the frontline Limerick team got a high scoring but a narrow win in there as well. So you'd imagine the mood coming off what was a very, very, very impressive 2025, that those two victories, couple of new faces dotted around the panel, the mood music must be quite good even for the 14th of January.
Yeah, I think they'll feel very confident going into the league. I think that it's no harm that they have a week off this week, that, it gives them a chance to recharge, to kind of refocus themselves again, maybe get a couple of hard training sessions in before their first match against Laois. But yeah, look, those three matches, including that win over Meath, which, again, never any harm to beat a Meath team. It's lovely to get one up on those traditional counties, as it were. So brilliant results. Like I say, a very impressive pre-season from Limerick, and I think they got, when it's very, very hard for us to see a team going out against Tipperary that might not be a strong team, but they have a plan in place and they clearly knew what they wanted to get out of each game and where they wanted to see guys playing, getting minutes into the legs. Yeah, like I say, a very impressive pre-season for Limerick.
Yeah, Tom, I suppose that there is, a number of challenges facing Jimmy and his management team going into the league in this year. It would be fine if he could have, call on all his Carlton Cup squad and put him into the league. But you've Josh Ryan, who's going to be out. You have Ian Corbett, who's retired. You have Darrow Hagan, who's going to be out. And you've Emmett Richter, who is very, very doubtful. So there are a lot of big boots to be filled before you embark on the league campaign.
Yeah, I would agree. The goalkeeping one is going to be a key one to watch. I would say Jeffrey Alford is probably slightly ahead, but both lads have been members of the panel for a few years, himself and Ronan McGilligan. So it's just a case of finding that synergy with the lads around the middle and making sure that the long, the medium, the short kickouts, that they're comfortable over what they're doing, and they would have practiced it against Meath and Cork in a very tough setting. So I'm sure, one of the two lads is putting their hand up and saying, yeah, I'm the man for the job. Because Josh was able to get those kickouts some distance, and obviously the free taking is a slightly different issue, but that it is the importance of kickouts in today's games cannot be underestimated. If you don't win primary possession, you are snookered. You are totally behind, and possession is what is key in the game today. I don't know what you think about the goalkeeping issue, lads.
I'm of the same opinion of you. Like, I think there is very little between the two goalkeepers. Um, like, neither of them have a terrible lot of experience now. Um, Jeffrey has had a couple of games with Limerick, and he had not so much in the last season, but the season before, Josh came on the scene, and Ronan McGilligan, he got a bit of a run with UL and things, and but it's a big call now. It's a big call for Jimmy, and it's a big call for whoever will be called. It's going to be a very, very big game, and it's going to be a very, very big job, whoever is nominated for the goalkeeping duties.
I'd agree with you, Tommy. I think you said it there that maybe Jeffrey's a nudge or two ahead. We saw it last year. He was invariably number 16, which would lead you to believe that. Now, obviously, things can change in the off season. He did play in that victory over Waterford, actually, which secured promotion. It was the only game that Josh Ryan was absent for last year, or not selected to start, shall we say. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I think the number 1 and number 6, which is obviously Josh and Ian, they're the two ones. I know Matt has gone on about other injuries there, but we can probably sculpt some other players into those positions, but we need to get the goalkeeper one right and the centre back right, because that's where a lot of the play will be dictated for Limerick, and a lot of the problems you can have can come from those positions if they're misfiring,
And the likeliest thing is that those positions will be filled by guys who were on the panel last year. I don't see a new guy stepping into those boots. Look, as much and all as I saw Oisin Moss having a fantastic campaign for Munger St. Paul's, he'd be a couple of years off being a starter for Limerick at 6 yet. So it's going to come from the cohort that played for Limerick last year.
Yeah, but I think the loss of Josh, as you said, Tom, and you were about to touch on it, is a double whammy. First of all, as a goalkeeper at that end of the field, and he's free taking at the other end of the field, because we saw how important his free taking was last year, particularly in the Talton Cup.
Yeah, look, those frees at the end that kept us going against Wicklow in particular.
Yeah.
And his free taking in the final, they were incredible. They were from angles and distances that were unimaginable for free takers for Limerick for many years. And I suppose he gave us that extra 10 metres that we hadn't been able to cover before. So it is a huge loss. And look, I would say there's probably more challenges than just filling the gaps of Ian and Josh Ryan. I think James Naughton had the most incredible season last year, but he's going to have a target on his back all year, and there's no way you're going to see James Naughton kicking 4-12 in a game. He might not kick 4-12 from play in the entire league campaign. So guys are going to have to step up. I think Danny Neville is one of those guys that has stepped over the years, but he's going to have to take more on. But for the rest of the forward line and all of the attacking unit, we're going to have more going on, because it cannot be the James Naughton show this year. It will not be good enough.
Apart from losing Ian Corbett, the footballer, we're losing a hugely influential figure in the dressing room.
Yes, yeah, undoubtedly. I think his influence went far more than what you see on the field. I listened to a very interesting podcast recently. It was Donncha O'Callaghan, who was talking about when he moved from Munster to England. He had a chat with the manager there, and the manager said to him, "Your job, believe it or not, is not primarily on the field. It's to guide the next generation through." So I'm sure that's what Ian has done so admirably over the years. His guidance, the way he acts, the way he, every day on the field, whether it's training or a match, his preparation, his dedication to what he does, his advice that he passes on, these are all so important. And from a footballing point of view, we lose Ian Corbett, the footballer, but we also lose Ian Corbett, the leader, and just a guy that we can say, he'll do the right thing and he'll show everybody how to do it correctly also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Desmond League has gained Ian Corbett as well, playing with Bradford United. So his competitive juices showing no signs of abating, albeit he stepped away from the inter-county scene. But yeah, a phenomenal loss. It's Division 3, as we were touching on there, for Limerick, which is a fantastic challenge that lies await for Limerick. But obviously, with it, Tommy, there's going to be a huge, well, not a huge, but there will be a step up in class needed from Limerick here. I think Limerick were very high scoring goals last year in Division 4, and maybe if they can be as clinical as they were at times, there might be no problems. But certainly, you would feel, as you say, their teams will have plans for the likes of James Naughton and Danny Evil, and defences are going to be that bit better organised. So Limerick are going to have to find probably another gear at times to make sure they get the results that they want in this division.
Yeah, when you look at the teams that Limerick are going to play against, I mean, I don't feel like there's any game that Limerick can't get something out of. Really, whether it's home or away. Look, and we're pleased that we have 4 home games this year. But I would even look at each of the away games and say, have we a chance day one against Laois for sure? Away to Sligo, we've gone there before and we've won games, and away to Westmeath, and we beat them last year away from home. They're certainly not. They're certainly not shaking any trees over there. So I think we have 7 games that we can definitely say we have a chance with every single game. And I know that the word is out there that if you don't hit the ground running, or if you don't start very quickly, as in get points on the board early, it can put you in trouble. But Limerick last year didn't have the greatest start to Division 3 at all. They drew with Longford, probably should have beat them first game. I think was it Wexford that beat us comprehensively in the second game? Yeah, and like that was 17 points to 13. It could have been 120 to 12 points. That's how much Wexford were in front of us. But then we started rolling. And I suppose the fear with that is that the teams are a better level, and you can't be guaranteed that could happen to Limerick this year. So they do need to be more competitive early, and that's probably why they have their ducks in a row extra early this year.
That O'Hagan, Tom, huge loss, really developed into being an inter-county footballer during the 2025 campaign.
Yeah, no doubt. And look, there's loads more to come for Darragh O'Hagan. I think physically he's going to be a huge guy. Obviously, ball over the head for kickouts and so on, tackling. I reckon there's areas for him to improve for sure, but he's a big loss to the team. I do think though there's probably scope for a bit more. I don't know, a bit of pace around midfield. And I saw Barry Coleman started there for Cork in the McGrath Cup final, or the McGrath Cup game last weekend. And I would hope that someone like Barry could fit in at midfield. And look, he mightn't be the threat overhead, but you'll definitely have the running game. So you'd have a nice mix of the aggression of Tommy Childs, the over the head winning the ball, you know, strong guy. And then you'd have Barry Coleman as well to run at them and scare the life out of them.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think they may complement themselves, because I think watching Barry Coleman, he's as near as possible to the real deal, you know, and like his championship performances with Rathkeil during the year were off the charts. So like him, you know, it is only now you realise the loss he was not staffing against Kildare.
Yeah, huge. I mean, to me, midfield could probably suit him better, because when Barry starts his runs from 5 or 7 half back line, by the time he's got up top, you know, it's a lot of work to get there. You have to get through your tackles, you have to time your runs, all of these different things. Whereas if you're starting those runs from midfield, you would hope you might get more end product from it.
Yeah, and especially apparently during the McGrath Cup, Conal O'Doin from Monleen fitted in very well in the number 5 slot.
Yeah, I heard that as well, and he showed up really, really well for Monleen. Monleen played him as a 10, I think, but he can easily slot into a 5 position. Very, very aggressive player. I loved what I saw. He is so direct. He wants to run at his man all the time, but he's got a great give and go game, and he's a strong physical guy. So he would definitely add to the panel this year.
Yeah, I was hugely impressed with him for Monleen during the championship. As you say, he covers the right wing between funneling back and driving forward. Absolutely. You know, I think he's somebody that could possibly nail down a place during the league. I believe anyway.
Yeah, and I would add a few more to that. I mean, I think Kieran Uwatse, I know he's very inexperienced still, but everything that I've seen from that guy tells me that he is going to be an inter-county player. And the same, I would say, like Eli Reardon needs to step up as well. We all know what he has to offer. He's another guy who could easily either start or come off the bench. He's got that physicality that we need around the midfield. He could easily play one of those roles between the half forward and half back line.
Yeah. I agree with you about both of them, and particularly Kieran Uwatse. I think he's an absolutely fantastic athlete, as distinct from a footballer. Absolutely super fit. You know, I really think I thought he was one of the, you know, he was one of the secret weapons of Mungret during the year.
Yeah, he was fantastic. He shut down so many of those forwards, and sometimes, you know, the best thing you could say about him is that he was in front all the time, so they decided not to kick the ball in. I think sometimes when you don't see a guy or his man getting the ball, I think that's more of a testament to how impressive a display the back is putting in.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, teams were reluctant to get it into his zone. Tommy, when you're as a player yourself at this time of the year, what, a week, 2 weeks out from league, How do you have fond memories of trudging around in the muck and the rain at this time of year, or was it?
I
Or
won't,
was
I
it?
won't,
Was there genuine excitement though of what was around the corner? You know,
Tom, I won't lie. My hamstrings hurt a lot at this time of the year.
they were tight most
But
seasons, really.
they were tight. They were tight. Yeah, I didn't like the slog. But I was waiting for the better ground to come around so I could use the bit of pace that I had available to me. But it was tough. Look, I know things have changed a whole lot. Training methods, like, they're so specific to the players now. You're going to be looking at each player individually. What do they need? What kind of a workload have they? What can we do with them tonight to push them towards where they need to be? And let's face it, like, you don't want to be lifting today. You don't want to be lifted even for the first game against Laois. There are targets that they would have set for the lads to hit the highs of, towards the end of the league and for championship, Munster championship, and again for whatever happens afterwards.
Yeah. Would you be as optimistic maybe as I am in regards to the panel is kind of stuck together? Obviously, Ian has stepped away, after like an incredible innings, but in general, just no one else has stepped away. It's the first time in a while, Tommy, we've had this continuity, albeit there's injuries dotted in there, but that's going to be the same for every panel. It's surely a good thing that, same management team, same squad more or less, and now obviously a couple of fresh faces around the place. So that's another reason to be optimistic heading into the
I totally agree. I'm very, very optimistic for Limerick this year. And look, I don't know where that's going to let us finish or allow us to finish in Division 3, but I know something that we have weapons and we've lots to go to war with this year. And if we add to that as well, I think the one area that you might see improvements in Limerick is forward play, and Ian Ryan has joined the backroom team. And obviously Ian was magnificent for Limerick over the years, playing himself, and has garnered a lot of coaching experience as well. So I think he's really going to offer an awful lot of advice and training methods to, these forwards that we know are brilliant already, but if we can stretch them a little bit more and pull a few more rabbits out of the hat there, it would be a real step forward for the team.
Yeah, and with that as well, Tommy, I suppose that it's the second year of the rules. You'd hope coaches, players alike will sharpen up their I suppose understanding and their, I suppose it's obviously we Limerick can learn, but so can others. But you'd hope that now Ian can add in a couple of little nuggets that will could potentially unlock some of these players at these levels, because I know we spoke to Bob Childs in this forum before Christmas, and he's the type of player who was getting suffocated in the old rules, but can continue now to thrive under these new rules because he's such a good forward player, and Limerick have a lot of those options now available to them.
Yeah, and Ian was one of the guys that he'd get the ball deep and he'd sell a dummy one way, he'd go the other way and kick it over the bar because he'd left and right. And if we can get the ball early into our forwards, and if they can get possession first time, you'd hope that Ian would help them develop the confidence to take their man on first time and get those scores off, because every time you pass the ball out, it's a chance for defenders to get back in position, and scoring, it becomes increasingly difficult. So what you want to see is long kick passes, ideal situation, long kick passes into our full forward line, the ball sticks, our lads take on their man, and they're getting effective shots away. Ideal situation.
Certainly you'd imagine that with Ian back in the squad, even his own clubmate James Norton will benefit. But fellas like Peter Nash, of course, and who we haven't mentioned, and Bob Childs, he has the capacity to add more to their individual games.
He does. Yeah, it's just it's brilliant that he's joined the panel. It's an excellent scoop for Jimmy. He did so well and bring him on board because I think he's going to be he's really going to benefit the panel, and obviously the forward line in particular.
Yeah, like Tom, the game has gone such now, in particular in hurling, and we've seen with John Kiley. Whilst it's important to pick the team that are going to go out in the field, it's hugely important to pick your backroom team and to get them right, and to get them to gel is the first thing for a successful manager. Yeah, and Jimmy has done that.
They seem to be very, very solid. Look, obviously I'd have experience with a lot of these guys myself, but I can't speak highly enough of anytime you speak to Pa Ranahan, just how focused he is on what the situation is and how do you improve. Improvements is what you're looking for, but it has to be realistic improvements. And they're always looking at how can they add value to players? How can players, I suppose it's the management supporting the players and how they add value to the team. How can they improve themselves so that they're better for the overall Limerick senior football panel. And it might be simple things. It might be taking on your man. It might be, finishing out those runs that you mightn't have been finishing out. It might be your near hand tackle. There could be small things. It might even be off the field. It might be your diet, anything like that. But just how can you add value? And when we talk about Ian Corbett and the value that he brought, can we replace the value that Ian Corbett brought to the team? And I suppose that's a big thing. And in the same way, Josh Ryan and a few more lads who might be injured, can we replace and maybe even improve the value that those lads offer to the team?
Yeah. Expectations, Tommy, I suppose for those who follow the footballers closely, they will have been lifted by last year, because obviously that run to the Tailteann Cup final, I should say, was quite special. Is there a danger now that I suppose people are going to expect miracles out of this team, or where do you think our expectations should be heading into, I suppose Division 3 now, where Limerick have to step up, and obviously heading in then to the Championship, where presumably Limerick will be in the Tailteann Cup again, and there'll probably be a bit of a target on their back given their run last year.
Yeah, I think obviously it's up a level, and without a doubt, every game they play is going to be as tough as any game they played towards the end of the Tailteann Cup. I mean, Wicklow was a brilliant match. Wexford, Kildare, these were brilliant matches, and every match is going to be that quality and better. Are there teams we can defeat? For sure. Like, we can take Laois first day out if we have everything going. I mean, I firmly believe that. I think Wexford at home is definitely one we can put our hopes on. Sligo away a chance, Clare at home, that would be a lovely match to win. And again, I think we can do it. Westmeath away, we beat them last year in the Tailteann Cup. No doubt we can go there again and expect that we'd have a chance there. And Fermanagh at home the last day. So I think the fixtures have worked out well enough for us that, like, even if something goes wrong early, there are still games that we can win later on. I think realistically, I'd be expecting Limerick to finish maybe mid to upper table. I would say maybe fourth, fifth, even stretching towards third. That's where I'd like us to be. We do need to. We spoke previously about this, but I know that it was tough for Limerick when they gained that double promotion those few years ago. You want Limerick to spend a couple of years in Division 3, finding their footing, getting comfortable, playing against quality teams on a week-by-week basis. And if they get that, players get their development, players find themselves comfortable in that position, then we can talk about further progress afterwards.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you, Tom. And we were talking up there about it, that what happened when we went up to Division 2 the last time is, we went up too quickly. We didn't stay long enough in Division 3. And it was compounded then by a horrible fixture schedule, which took us to Derry in the first round, and we had Dublin at home in the second round. So, basically, when you go up that quick, and you really need everything to fall your way. And as it happened, nothing fell Limerick's way. And as you see, we cascaded back down to Division 4. But, full credit to Limerick, went 16 games or 17 games without a league win. But whatever happened in the juice in London, whatever is in it, it changed it around. And by God, it proved to be the catalyst for what was a very, very special year at the end. 3 appearances in Croke Park, won twice, could have won 3 times. That's the stuff of dreams.
And I would add to that, look, if we can continue how we managed to be in games so late and come out on top of them in so many of those games, and I would even refer back to Wicklow in the league, where we got those late scores to tie it up. We're never beaten. If we're close, we're never beaten. And I hope that mantra keeps going for our lads again this year, because winning close games is the most fantastic thing of all time. The endorphins, the enjoyment, the momentum that comes with winning close games it can't be put into words.
No, I agree totally.
Yeah, I think looking at the games Limerick have, there's not an awful lot to fear, albeit the improvement in quality. But if I'm not mistaken, of the 17s, Limerick have beaten 5 of them in their last head-to-head encounter, whenever that was. I think Clare maybe and Down are the 2 exceptions, but I think Limerick have beaten Laois in recent times. They've beaten Fermanagh. They'll beat Fermanagh to get out of this division a couple of years back. So there's little to fear. It's just, can Limerick find that level of performance from day one up in Laois? And I'd be very optimistic for the year ahead. But in regards to staying in the division, lads, I suppose there's 50% of this division moves every year, so it's a very different looking division year on year. So Limerick either going to if they can find themselves mid-table, they'll be staying there. But other than that, they could go up or down. You really wouldn't know. Tommy, the overall year, so I'm taking it you're sharing our optimism, and we hope it's another I suppose special trip following this team around the country, and hopefully it will culminate in some success, whatever that may look like.
Yeah, and success can be measured in many different ways. Success could be remaining in Division 3, getting 7 quality games, getting loads of experience into some younger players' legs and minds and bodies, and finding ourselves in a good situation going into the Munster Championship, having a good crack off that, and whatever championship we're in afterwards, yet whether it's the All Ireland or the Tailteann Cup, I'm sure our lads will be ready for it. We know we've got, like I say, I think we've said it. We know we've got a great team that we can follow, and we can be happy. And every day they go out, they'll give it absolutely everything. A brilliant bunch of lads and a brilliant backroom team, and I'm looking forward to the year so much.
Yeah, Matt, any final remarks for Tommy?
Just Tommy, looking back a bit, looking back at last year's Limerick Senior Football Championship, you saw an awful lot of it. What was your take on it overall?
Yeah, I suppose I'm glad that we've got new champions. I think new champions is no harm whatsoever. I think Mungret have been thereabouts, and the thing about Mungret is you have to win when you can win. If you don't win when you can win, you can't be guaranteed you'll get the same group of players together next year. They're great champions. I think they're such an even team. I'm not trying to be derogatory when I say this, but I think they're a very even team. No, you couldn't say there's any superstar that is going to be part of that team. They're just very even. They do their job well, and the way they plotted their way through the championship was fantastic. I think they had some brilliant wins towards the end, obviously against Adair and Newcastle West, and just brilliant. But I'd say overall it was a nice even championship. We had a lot of games that could have gone either way. The very first game that I saw was Newcastle West versus Mungret, and it set the tone. It was the most amazing high-scoring game, high fielding, kicking scores, 2-pointers. It was a wonderful advertisement for what was a great Limerick Senior Football Championship. I feel like, we say at the intercounty level that with the new rules, there's going to be progress every year on year. I feel that's going to be the same for the club. I think club coaches probably don't get the same resources as intercounty coaches do. So I would imagine next year we'll see an even better championship. And like I say, I was very impressed by so much great football, loads of kicking, loads of 2-pointers, plenty goals, plenty excitements, and fantastic year. That's what I can say about it. Yeah.
Our Mungret St. Paul's the new drum Waterford, because the senior football champions for the first time, and Premier Minor football champions, Premier Under 20 football champions. Like, the conveyor belt is in a rude state of good health in Mungret.
It is, and they could very well be the force in Limerick football for a while. I've been lucky enough to be involved with intercounty panels where some of those young lads who were on the periphery of the team, the likes of Conor Lunig, amazing players, Diarmuid Hines, amazing players, and they're going to bring so much value. They're going to bring so much value to that Mungret St. Paul's team. And it's not just those boys, it's every level, every age group from now on. It's 12s, 14s, 16s, 17s, 20s. They're so they have so much quality at all those age groups. It would be no wonder that Mungret St. Paul's stay top of the ladder for many years to come, and they simply have to. They're a big club and they have to stay in that position. So anyone who can beat Mungret St. Paul's year on year is probably going to be good enough to win a county title.
Yeah, very fair point. Yeah, and I think the senior championship next year will be better for the return of Askeaton, Ballysteen, Kilcorn as well.
Sure.
A club that couple of years not going to plan, but certainly showed what they're about last year. So hopefully a very strong 12-team championship with the new rules. We can't call them new rules maybe anymore, but with those rules really adding to it. And I think this 2025 was probably the most enjoyable year of covering the football championship in a long number of years, and probably a number of factors for that. And Mungret here to stay. So. Let's see who can shake them off the throne in 2026. Tommy, that's it from me anyway. We'll let you go. We could be talking football all day, but I do know we have other items to get to, so we will move on. Matt, unless you've any.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure, lads. Great to talk to you again.
Absolutely. We shall see you somewhere knocking around at a league match in the next few weeks, and hopefully
No doubt.
we'll be smiling coming away with Limerick on the board very, very quickly in the Alliance Football League.
So lads.
All right.
Thanks very much, Tom.
Thanks a million. Yeah, great to have Tommy on there, and as I said, we could be chatting now for hours and hours and hours of football.
Yeah,
with that man.
Tommy really knows his football, Tom, as you know from commentating beside him. Absolutely, his analysis of the game is just absolutely fantastic, and he's a very deep thinker about the game, you know, and of course he has a record to show for it, you know, playing in Munster senior finals with Limerick, part of the Limerick team that won the county's only ever under 20 championship, 21 championship in 2000. You know, Tommy has given great service to Limerick, not just and Drumcollar, not just off the on the field, but off the field as well, and has, you know, he's immersed himself in coaching various teams and everything since he hung up his boots, you know, and certainly a great advocate for Limerick football.
Yeah, for sure. His positivity as well is always great to see. You know, he sees the good in every player, no matter where they are and who they're with. You know, that's something you'd really admire about him. Anyway, so it's National Football League where we will see Limerick next on the 24th of January against Laois at 6 p.m. in Laois Higher O'Moore Park. So that promises to be, I suppose, a decent start for Limerick, we hope, and hopefully they can hit the ground running, unlike last year, but a win would really set things up for Limerick. And it's down then, I think it's down, isn't it, in the following Saturday then in McNeville Park. So Limerick got 4 home games in McNeville Park, and obviously then 3 games on the road. Okay, Matt, anything else on the football agenda for you this
Tom,
week?
before we depart from football, if I could digress slightly to ladies football, and you know, congratulate Cathy Mee, who announced her retirement this week, on an absolutely wonderful career for her county.
Yeah.
Like, she has given stellar service for over almost a decade and a half. And of course, the high point of her career, you know, or the high point of any player's career, and it was only fitting that she should experience this one, was leading her county to All-Ireland success and climbing the Hogan stand to take custody of the cup. And like, her performances, Tom, even in dark days for Limerick, have been stellar. You know, even right up to this year, we'll say up to 2025, when she helped Limerick to promotion back to to consolidate in Division 3 after winning promotion the previous year. She helped Limerick to win back-to-back Munster Senior B titles. She won 3 senior, appeared in 6 Limerick senior finals altogether, winning 3 with Ballylanders, 3 in a row, 15-17. By any benchmark, by any yardstick, Tom, an absolutely stellar career. And we were talking about it and referring to it in the context of Ian Corbett leaving the football, the senior football panel, and retiring. The very same can be said and attributed to Cathy Mee. Her performances on the field were only part of the deal. The influence she was in the dressing room, in training sessions, is going to be sorely missed. And what we would want, I'm proud to say that she's from the same parish as myself. She's a native of that, but that's immaterial. But we just want to say thanks, Cathy. Congratulations on a wonderful career.
Yeah, for sure. And I suppose the dynamism of her she was would have predominantly been a forward, but obviously we saw her at centre back at times in recent years as well. So great flexibility, and obviously a great leader as well within that team. And you know, as the years went on, naturally enough, there's no way Cathy was getting any younger, but the team around her continued to probably get younger at times, and yet, you know, she stayed there, stayed the course, and you know, you'd have to tip your hat to her on a tremendous career. You know, unfortunately, I wouldn't have the stats of what she played and scored, but I can imagine there isn't too many ahead of her in either regard for Limerick. You know, across club or across league or championship.
No, she has been absolutely phenomenal, Tom. Absolute, and she has seen dark days with Limerick, no question about it. There were near misses, barely missing promotion. There was a very poor year, I think it was in 2017 when they were in Division 3 and didn't win a match, and, you know, had a very heavy defeat in the Intermediate Championship that year and all that sort of thing. You know, but Cathy stayed with it through thick and thin. And Cathy was one of the people that pulled Limerick back up. You know, she led from the front. You know, as you spoke about her dynamism, you know, she's one of those rare ones that you know don't come half often enough.
That's for sure, and hopefully there's another Cathy Mee out there somewhere, but we won't hold our breath. There's probably not, unfortunately. But congratulations, Cathy, and I'm sure we'll be crossing paths with you at a sideline somewhere, or even with the club in the near future. Just to wrap our football chat, Matt, Skull Neutrino, if I'm pronouncing it right correctly, I'm probably not, of Doon, they're playing in the under-19C football, that is Munster semi-final, next Tuesday, the 20th of January. They're playing Glenmire Community College in Munster C semi-final, so a big chance for Doon to reach the final of the Munster C football championship, so it'll be a big outing for them. We'll try and keep I suppose people up to date with that next week as the result comes in. But best wishes to all and Doon. I know they would have been in the Arctic Cup earlier, but have quickly switched their attention to the big ball and football. So an opportunity of getting to a Munster final not to be ignored this time of year.
Certainly wish Scotland Trinidad the very, very best of luck. You know, it just tell you the amount of activity that's going on there, that they can switch from one court to the next, which is very admirable. And of course, I have no doubt that there is probably a huge input from the ULA club there.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, obviously they were in the under-18 football final. ULA were, and the under-20 as well, aren't they? So two county finals is probably a huge crossover there with this, what is an under-19 schools competition. So let's see how the lads fare. No venue decided just yet, but halfway between Glenmire and there, probably good chance to be Kilmallock or somewhere like that, but we'll see how it plays out. But we'll stay on schools, Matt, while we switch to hurling. I think you did touch on it in the outset. There's two other Limerick schools in semi-finals in the coming days, so an opportunity for what will be a novel Munster final. Hopefully it can happen between two Limerick schools. Tell us more.
There's a possibility that the Munster senior post-primary school senior B final could possibly be between two Limerick schools, Skull Pole, Kilfennan and SMI Newcastle West. Both of them are involved in semi-finals over the coming week. Send Skull Pole travel down to Páirc Uí Chaoimh on Friday morning at 11:30 to take on Bishopstown.
On the all-weather, isn't it?
On the all-weather. And on Monday then, SMI return to Tournafulla to take on Tralee CBS. And I say return to Tournafulla to take on Tralee CBS because those two schools met in the first round in Tournafulla, and I was at it. And SMI recorded a very, very good win that day. And SMI have come through a very tough passage, Tom. They beat Tralee CBS in the first round. They had a comfortable win over Castlepride College in the second round. I saw that game. Then they went to Cork to the 4G pitch in Páirc Uí Chaoimh to play Colossacle and colleague who were only 10 minutes away. And now at that stage, they had beaten three teams that were playing Hartley Cup last year. Nice. You know, and then they had to go back to Cork again, this time to Bishopstown, and they saw off the challenge after extra time of one of the favourites for the competition, Hamilton High School abandoned. So, like they go into the competition with some serious pedigree, Tom, and they go into the semi-final with some serious pedigree. But there's always a risk when you're beating a team and are playing them for a second time. You know, it's all about who comes the most and what have you. And certainly it's a motivating factor for the opposition if you're beating them and all that sort of thing. But I've seen improvement in them, and you know, and I think that they're quite capable of making the final. I think the same for Sculpole, Tom, but Sculpole may be slightly late developers in the current competition, and may just be hitting peak for them at the right time. And they drew with Carrick-on-Shore CBS in the first round. Didn't they win to Middleton, Tom, and beat a fancied Rochestown College team? And you know, Rochestown College would be, and then they had the game with Scariff, Paul Rogers and all. I was at it last week, and Keane McDonough and Cathal Dennehy scored 5 goals and 10 points between them.
Phenomenal. Can't be too often you've said that about two players in any match. They've scored 5-10 between two, you know.
Keane McDonough, who's a son of Steve, the former Limerick great.
Didn't lick it off a stone, as they say.
No, he did not. He got 4-3, and Cathal Dennehy got 1-7. So he was excellent out through. And I also thought who was excellent, and he was on the periphery of the Limerick minor team last year, was Kyle McCarthy at wing back. Got 3.
What club is he?
He's Glenroe, and I'm not, you know, I'm just saying it as
I was genuinely, I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember what club he was. Yeah. So, no.
Well, this lad, he captained Limerick under-16s to win the Eugene Carey 2 years ago. Well, to share the Eugene Carey with Galway 2 years ago. Very, very good hurler, but possibly didn't, you know, we didn't see enough of him last year with Limerick Minors, but he was absolutely outstanding, I thought, at wing back. Got 3 long-range points. And when you have that kind of stuff in your armoury, you know, and they were down Conor Gilligan, and who will be back for the next game. So I think Sculpole are in a good place now. They played Bishopstown last year in the quarter-final in Fethard, and they lost by 2 points. And I know from year to year with colleges, what happened last year counts very little for this year because there's such a turnover of students and all that sort of thing. But I liked what I saw from Sculpole last Wednesday, Tom. I really liked it.
Yeah, so I suppose we've a quiet optimism that there could be a Limerick final, which will be a fantastic occasion. But look, Limerick schools have performed admirably in the lower tiers in recent years. I think Castletroy contested this final maybe 3-4 years ago as well, and I think it went extra time. You know, there's been near misses even at this grade, and there's been good performances down the grades as well. Yeah, one
credit, absolute credit to the 2 schools. Sculpole won the C, All Ireland C, in 2024. Newcastle West won it in 2023.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great?
Full credit to them for, you know, maintaining the momentum. And
SMI won it last year, no? 25?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, so you said 23 or 5? 25 and 24, wasn't it? So they're the last 2 C winners, yeah.
Paul won it in Mitchelstown, CBS won it in 2023.
Yeah. So it's come from Mitchelstown to Kilfinane to Newcastle West, and now they're up the grade as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic,
and now there's a possibility that the 2 of them will get through to the final, and may the best horse jump the ditch at that stage, you know.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic to have that prospect.
The message that it would send out for Limerick hurling, and the boost it would give for Limerick hurling, because a lot of people were very, very disappointed that there was no Limerick representative in the concluding stages of the quarterfinals of the Hartley Cup.
Yeah.
Now, was much better. They had only 1, you know, but Limerick, we've been so used to our Skull Reach, and at times John the Baptist making it to the last 8. There was an air of disappointment around the place that we didn't have a representative in the last 8. So this will counteract it to a certain degree, and it's a major boost, not just for colleges hurling. It's a major boost for Limerick hurling.
Yeah, let's see. So by the time we speak on next week's podcast, we should know the results, and hopefully it's green and white all the way. Green and white at Limerick, obviously. Okay, Matt. We will come to third level in a few moments, but I know a lot of our listeners and viewers are huge Limerick senior hurling fans, and I suppose you touched on it at the very start of this program. Limerick, I suppose, inadvertently found themselves in the final at one point, or was it a 2-point defeat to Clare in the first round, and then a very comfortable victory on home soil at the Gaelic grounds against Cork meant they were wishing Cork all the best against Clare, and a bit of a late revival from the Rebels. A 1-point win for them knocks Clare out, puts Limerick into a final, and they will head for Mallow this Saturday. 3:15 throw-in against Waterford in the Co-op Superstores Munster Senior Hurling League final, and an early opportunity for Limerick to run the rule over some more prospects, and also, I suppose, to pick up a piece of silverware.
It is, Tom, and I suppose I don't know whether John Kiley would look at it this way or not. It fills a gap for the simple reason that Limerick have a bye in the first round of the league.
Yeah, I think it's ideal, and even with how Fitzgibbon fixtures have fallen for a lot of the Limerick players, there's little harm, and they probably would have been playing a challenge match anyway. So why not?
It's good preparatory work. Now, I think he would have prepared anybody but Waterford, seeing that we're playing Waterford in the first round of the league. That's probably the downside of it. Well, it's the second round of the league because we have a bye in the first round. But I think it's great to get into the final because, we've been so used to success, Tom. There's a group of people, a group of young people in this country, in this county, and all they know is success for Limerick hurling because of the glorious era from 2018 to 2023. And, the way John Kiley went about it, I saw basically a totally experimental team that was sent out in the Dylan Quirk Foundation game against Tipperary. Something similar against Clare, I think, apart from, was it Tom Morrissey and was it Darragh O'Donovan maybe? Darragh was captain against Clare.
Yeah, I suppose you had O'Connor and Donegal Dalek, who were kind of prominent enough last year at times.
Yeah.
But in general, the real frontline players we're used to weren't there until maybe in the second half. Adam English came in, Grode Hegarty and Peter Casey. But again, from the start, you're the likes of Dylan O'Shea, John English, these fellas who were trying to make their mark in the jersey. So
and certainly their mark.
Yeah, for sure. In the case of those two, that's why they jumped to mind. But I suppose it was a mixed team, and then I think Limerick strengthened it up by no choice of their own. They had to do it against Cork because they literally only had 23 players available, from what I gather. So because of Fitzgibbon commitments and a few injuries, so it's he's seen a lot of players in the three games you've mentioned there, Tip, Clare, and Cork. So it's it's interesting times for the panel, I think.
It is interesting times for the panel, and John Kiley will have decisions to make, and a couple of big decisions to make, and a couple of big calls to make during when he'll sit down to pick the team to play Waterford. The situation. Will Kyle Hayes have recovered from injury, or when will he have recovered from injury? That will all have to be factored into it. Who is still involved in, because the Fitzgibbon Cup is going to go beyond that first round of the league, and it would look at this stage, barring an absolute seismic disaster altogether, that UL will be in the closing stages, so they will be involved.
Well, in my opinion, UL and Mary I are already in the quarterfinals. It's a very good chance. Very unlikely that they'll be squeezed out at this point, especially UL anyway. With a 37-point win, but we'll come to those. So there's a lot of juggling parts here for John and management to get right over the next few weeks. But as you said, this game fits neatly enough, I think, into the schedule. As I said,
I think it does. I think it does, Tom. And John Kiley has never concealed the fact, and I think he has reiterated it this year, that he's a big fan of the Fitzgibbon Cup, and he wants players to be playing in. And that in my view, is a very, very laudable approach. Now, all managers don't take the same, and we've discussed it here about other managers, particularly in relation to the Sigerson Cup, giving out about it. But I think it's very, very hard to second guess, John. who in their wildest imagination and wildest dreams would have thought of Eddie Stokes as a cornerback?
Paul Kinnerk, John Kiley, probably no one else.
Yeah, that's it. No,
Yeah.
I know he did have a spell as a defender with Doon when they were
Kind of, wing back. He would have been playing.
Yeah.
Was that the year he had a load of injuries? He was playing at number 7, wasn't he, or number 5? I can't remember which. But look, it's as some people would argue, a good hurler can hurl anywhere, and I'd say Eddie would probably.
That's what I would say about Eddie Stokes, and I've seen him playing with Limerick and with Doon, and I've seen him playing with UCC, and there's one thing you'll always get from Eddie Stokes, and that's 100%, and his work rate is absolutely phenomenal. So anybody with those characteristics can fit in cornerback, but I was surprised when I saw, just as I was surprised when I saw Barry Murphy converted into a defender this time 12 months. But like you have some very big names to come back yet. You have Barry Nash, Dan Morrissey, and by the way, congratulations to Dan Morrissey on his recent nuptials. You have Dermot Burns to come back. Now Sean Finn has got a game under his belt. Mikey Casey has got a good bit of a game under his belt. Kyle Hayes, of course, is the big question. Willem O'Donoghue has got time into his into his legs, and Yovam Galan to come back. Like, so there are a lot of very, very big names to come back. So whether we'll see any of them on Saturday, we may see one or two, I think, Tom. We may see one or two. But I think from a confidence point of view, not that this Limerick squad has ever lost confidence in their own belief, but I think it might put an extra spring in their step, going into the league, where they to pick up the co-op superstores and one of the most in the Holland League.
For sure. I think as well, early signs, there's a lot to like about in the two performances. I think Donegal O'Donnell obviously is grabbing the headlines. Like I actually was thinking about it below in Clare when I was watching the game in Tulla. I was there in the flesh, and I said, does Donegal score enough goals at times, even for Monaleen? And he's very good to you could get 3, 4, 5 points a game, and suddenly he ends up with 2 goals that day, gets another goal the last day. And you know what? A player like him now trying to really push on to a starting 15. He's in the 26 more often than not as the year rolls on. Can he force the issue now, and can he, I suppose, give John Kiley a real headache going into the league, and that's what this competition should be about for the likes of him,
Yeah, it should be, and I honestly think from seeing the 2 games that I expect he will. To be quite honest, I expect that he will be in the starting lineout. Now, I was hugely impressed with John English of Garrisballan. I thought he had a cameo against Clare, I think, and then he had a full debut against Cork and did very well and knocked over 3 points. And it did very well. I thought Patrick O'Donovan is doing okay. Look, there are options there, but Aidan O'Connor, it's going to be a big year for Aidan O'Connor. He's going to be a big player as far as John Kiley and as far as Limerick are concerned.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we haven't seen Colin Coughlin yet. He was missing for UL through injury, but not far away, I'm told, to be returning to it. But there's plenty of options. I think Limerick will just want to make sure that some of the players who didn't hit their absolute top performance last year can start to get back towards that, and hopefully, as we said to John when I suppose we spoke to him during the stream and during the year, that that bit of hunger will be there, and that I suppose that looking over the ditch at Tipperary and looking over the ditch at Cork, who have the spoils from last year in regards to Munster and All Ireland and the league in Cork's case, hopefully that bit of motivation is there now, and this group will come together and deliver something for Limerick in 2026. I think there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic.
Yeah, there are, and all this changing of, would say, the team now over the 3 games, not so much from 1 to 2, but from 2 to 3, substantial change. It's all creating a sense of competition in the squad, which is what John has been all about, and which any successful team is all about, Tom. And I'd be very hopeful going to Mallow on Saturday that Limerick will come out. Now, Peter Queally, John's Waterford counterpart, and of course, he's Don O'Rourke from Cork, well, and the Waterford native, but who was involved with Cork, last year, and Adrian O'Sullivan, the former Cork Camogie coach and the former Limerick Camogie coach and a good West Limerick man, he's part of the squad of the backroom team there as well. So yeah, Waterford will have much the same ideas as Limerick because they're newly promoted, and if anything, it'll be a bigger audition for the Waterford players because the following Sunday week, 8 days later, they travel to Leaside to play Cork in the first round of the league. So you know, it'll be a final run out for Waterford. So are likely to field a pretty strong team. Now I noticed that during the campaign they drew with Tipperary in the first round, and they're in the final by virtue of beating Kerry by substantially more than Tipperary did.
They beat Kerry by 37 or 38 points, and Tipperary only 10 or 12. Yeah.
You know, how interested Tipperary were in getting to the final is another thing, you know. So
Waterford, the main talking point out of Waterford is obviously looks like Aston Gleeson won't be involved this year.
Yes.
But I look at Waterford in the way of it's a big year for Waterford in the championship. I don't think they'll be overly fussed about the league overall, but obviously you have to start getting your ducks in a row at some point. But they have got to get out of Munster this year, Matt. They just have struggled in this round robin. They've never gotten out in the round robin. They just cannot get over the line. So it's a huge year for Peter Queally. You know, I think they were probably, I suppose, happy enough with some of the results and some of the performances last year. But at the end of the day, a county like Waterford, it's all about results and it's all about you know, getting on, and they need to start delivering. So it's a huge year for Waterford.
It is, and if you like, Tom, he has a bigger struggle than John Kiley for the simple reason that John Kiley is just juggling with their commitments to the Fitzgibbon Cup. Peter Queally is doing the very same, but on top of it, he has the commitment of players to Ballygunner, who are in the All-Ireland Clubs final. Yeah. So like it's a very, very delicate balancing act for him at the moment. So the Waterford team that I looked at, like for instance, you Jack Fagan at full back, you Jack Fagan at wing back. Now, you know, Conor Prunty on the bench, and that's Jamie Barron on the bench, that sort of thing. You know, he's going to have very, very big calls to make. And as I said before, like the Fitzgibbon Cup is going to go on to into
Valentine's weekend, isn't it? Sometime around then, I think.
Around the 15th of February, I think. And but then you have the other side of it, Ballygunner, whether they win, lose, or draw, like those players are going to be looking for a break, John. You know, and let's face it, they deserve a break.
Yeah, for sure. No, you would imagine the earliest they'll be in is actually the match against Limerick, and even then it might be beyond that. It might be into February.
I think it will be beyond the time.
Yeah,
you know.
In some cases, excuse me, I'm sneezing here, but in some cases that might be true. Anyway, so Saturday will be an opportunity. I think 2,000 tickets went on sale today, and I'm sure they're nearly all snapped up by the time people will hear this anyway. But another opportunity to see the Limerick Hurlers in pre-season. And another opportunity for Limerick to collect silver. I think is it maybe 3 times Limerick have won this under John Kiley?
We haven't won it since 2022.
Yeah, it wasn't completed in 24, and I think Cork were winners in 23. If my memory serves. So.
In actually, when we won it in 2022, we hardly used any frontline players.
Barry Nash was captain, but I suppose he was probably the only real starter from the previous year's All Ireland that featured. But yeah, you're right. It was
David Reedy is another player that's due to come back. You know, when you think of it, there are a lot of big players out there still to come back. You know,
there are. Yeah, I know probably been eased back in some cases, and I know David Rossani's travels as well, doing some charity work. So probably will filter back in very soon. Okay, Matt, we've mentioned it plenty of times there. Fitzgibbon Cup, I suppose, just to wrap up what happened last week. Mary I got a victory in the opening round against SETU Waterford, formerly known obviously as Waterford IT. A slow start, but 4 goals and 3 points from Oisin O'Farrell. I tell you, it's performances like that will make people sit up and notice the quality of this player. He didn't have the greatest performance for Limerick a few days prior in Clare, you know, taking off at halftime. Things didn't fall his way. By God, did he show he knows where the net is. 4 goals in. He had a hat trick inside. I was at it, Matt. He had a hat trick inside 12 minutes. It is rare I've ever said that at any sports game, not mind a hurling game. So credit to Oisin, he helped him over the line.
Absolutely. I've seen him playing, Tom, and he's a hurler that I admire, and I think he's a hurler with fantastic potential. We saw him playing in the football final as well, actually. And
against his hurling club, if you
against
like.
the hurling club, and he played very, very well. But he's, I think he's a very, very good hurler and a very, very good prospect. And I think he's going to be in or around John Clyde for this coming year.
Yeah. So alongside him, you had Shane O'Brien. There was a pretty potent looking inside line. I think between them they got 4-10. Was that earlier? 5-10 was it?
5-10.
Yeah.
You're not good. Come again, I'm afraid.
Not good enough, lads. 4-10, yeah. Also featured from Limerick point of view, Vince Harrington, I think, went off with a slight knock at half-time. Someone who's obviously been involved with Limerick. As I said, Shane O'Brien and Oisin O'Farrell starting as well. Jimmy Quilty was at centre-back. Sean Whelan of Cappamore, he impressed when he came on. And
he got 4 points, I think, didn't he?
Yeah. He was lively when he came on. And Drummond at Lacka, William Dorr featured off the bench as well. So that was the Mary I connections.
I'm not in the slightest bit surprised at Sean Whelan. Not in the slightest bit surprised. I'd be surprised if he wasn't joined, actually, because I saw him up through minor, and Sean Whelan is a very, very good hurler. Very, very good hurler.
Yeah, he is, and I tell you, he'll give Jamie Wall a headache or two ahead of their playing in round 3, which is their second game. So we'll see.
And just mention
they're playing in game 2. I'm mixing up fixtures here now in my head. Yeah, go on.
Just mention Jamie, and we've had him on our podcast here. I'd like to congratulate him on his club, Kilbritton.
Yeah, his brother captain, they beat obviously Knockaderry in their first provincial game, and no looking back from there, and got squeezed over the line a point, but a win is a win, as they say. So congratulations to them.
When I'm on congratulatory mood, I would also like to congratulate another one of our guests on the podcast, Aidan Walsh.
Oh, yes, we had him a couple of years ago, and it's probably nearly 3 years ago since we had him now, but a great guest ahead of Limerick and Cork in 24, wasn't it? 2 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Who won an All-Ireland intermediate football clubs medal, and is probably the only man in the history of the clubs to win both a hurling and a football medal, having won a hurling medal with Kentuck previously. With his native Kentuck, he now adds a football medal, which is fantastic. Great guest, great player, great
both intermediate as well, aren't they?
Both intermediate,
yeah. Fantastic little piece of trivia there. Yeah, there cannot be too many. If anyone does know of anyone else that's won, I suppose across the grades.
Well, the call is out all over the place, and there's no reply because there is none.
Yeah, it's a unique little feat for him, and indeed I suppose just for him, shall we say. Just back to the Fitzgibbon, Matt. Obviously, UL then were. I was at this game. I tell you, Matt. The UL team would scare the life out of you. 6-31 to 1-9 victors over Maynooth. 37 points. They were 30 points up at halftime, Matt. And obviously, if they continued that trend, they'd have won by 60. Now the foot came off the pedal as they were entitled to do. But 4-19 to a point up at halftime. The inside line alone, Matt, I've mentioned it in my report in the Examiner. Adam Screeney, probably one of the best under 20 hurlers we've seen in the last decade or two, probably. Darragh McCarthy, the reigning young hurler of the year, and Aidan O'Connor, who was previously a Munster under 20 hurler of the year. And obviously, we know his exploits here in Limerick. He was the championship's top scorer in club scene last season.
I don't know who would 3-2.
Yeah, for sure. It's marvelous, really. 3-5, I think he had, but maybe I'm wrong with that. But Darragh McCarthy, and basically top to bottom, more or less an intercounty panel for them. Fintan Fitzgerald of Limerick had to settle for a place off the bench. Adam English, Cathal O'Neill getting a bit of time at this level. The team captain Colin Coughlin injured. Who else did we? Darragh Langan as well. Quite enough game at wing back, not an awful lot to do, but help provide some of the bullets for the forwards. But they'll be hard stop, Matt, for this championship. I think everyone that follows it will agree this is a formidable looking UL panel, and they showed it in their first round against Maynooth.
Oh yeah. I went through it there the other day, and 20 into 15 won't go, and that's what you're looking at. That's 20 top class players, almost 20 inter-county players there. And, Brian Ryan has only 15 places. And there's the one or two that, that are lesser known that are going to be on the team. So, it's very, very, very strong. And it's very, very hard to see beyond UL, Tom. I think they're absolutely... I think the best word to describe him, Tom, is awesome.
Yeah, that's it. Although you never know, they could have a trip somewhere in the knockouts. But if they more or less have a home quarter final, and then we'll see where they'll go after that. But they're on the same side as the Cork side, so I think as far as I know, so the Rebels will be eyeing them up. Other connections, Matt.
It's likely that it's going to be UCC, with whom I'm very disappointed with. To lose the Cork derby to MTU, and not just to lose it, Tom, but the manner in which they lost it by 10 points. But Owen Downey didn't play, but whether he'd have made a difference of 10 points or not, it's only supposition. I don't know.
Yeah. Any Limerick involvement there for UCC? Fiona O'Brien was he involved? He wasn't, no?
No. Paddy O'Neill was in goals, but he was in goals for Cork the other night against them.
Right.
But Fionn was in the subs, and so was Darafel, I was very, very disappointed, Tom, especially after they winning the league. I thought that maybe they had turned the corner, new management in there, everything. Up
against it now as well already.
Potentially. Chris Bones is no longer a force in the Fitzgibbon Cup, Tom, and if they beat the Garda College now, they're likely to be facing UL.
Yeah, very, very probable at this point. Other Limerick connections, obviously TUS Midwest, which is formerly LIT. They're not in action, I don't think, until, or is it this week? They're in action.
This week. Yeah.
Sorry, I had it, and then I lost it. Apologies, but they're playing. It'll load for me here. They're all groups of 3 anyway. I suppose we should say. Two
Galway they're playing.
Yes, they're in the group with the 2 Galway guys. Yeah, they're playing ATU this evening, is it, or tomorrow evening?
This evening, I think.
And then on next Thursday, the 22nd. No, hang on, we're mixing up our fixtures here. ATU will host Mary I next Wednesday, the 21st.
Oh, sorry, that's Mary I they're hosting, yeah.
I'm just trying to find it here now. There we go. They're playing UCD this evening, isn't it? Tomorrow evening. UCD versus TUS Midwest in Belfield. So they'll have a home game then to conclude their group against University of Galway. Probably a tricky enough group for them to come out of, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on how things unfold there. I don't think there was too much other Limerick involvement, Matt, across the colleges. There's probably some with 1 or 2 dotted around with the Dublin teams, but we'll come to them.
James Conheady of Crocora Manister is on the UCD panel.
Yeah, I don't know, did he feature the last week to Galway 320 to 117? I didn't see actually if he featured or not, but he is another Limerick representative this time with UCD, but we'll keep an eye on their progression throughout the contest. Matt, I suppose we're staying on third level. We I know we're going to hurling, but we'll come back to Junior B in a minute. But the third level Sigerson Cup, University of Limerick, 2 impressive wins, Matt. They're into a quarter final proper. Very impressive winners last evening. They're the league champions. They beat the reigning Sigerson champions, DCU.
I thought last evening's performance against DCU was a statement win, Tom. A big statement win, because you see UCC won the league in hurling, and you see what happened to them in the first round. In the fifth, that hasn't happened in the Sigerson. To UL, and UL have been away from home in both of the games. They had to go down to MTU in the first round. They won 17 points to 1-9. There was no Limerick representative on the UL team. Zach McCarthy of Galtee Gales started for MTU and contributed a couple of points, which doesn't surprise me because I think Zach is a right good corner forward. And now they've gone to DCU, the current holders, and came away with a 118 to 12 points victory, I think. Now, there seems to be a very strong Mayo cohort on this UL team. Very, very strong Mayo cohort.
There is, yeah. It's quite dominant. The likes of Frank Irwin and Keane McHale, I think. And
Frank Irwin scored 7 points last night.
Yeah. And then I think the captain is from Clare, Brian McNamara. He buried the goal, I think, last evening.
Before half time.
There's 2 Limerick players on the panel, isn't it? Aaron Neville of Newcastle West and Andrew Mead of...
Andrew Mead on the panel. Now, Andrew has played a big part already in one of the games. Not in the... I think, he played a big part in the league final.
Yeah, he won in stoppage time, right? And from what I remember, yeah. But look, there is
very good footballers, and I suppose... what it reflects, Tom, it's not a reflection on Alan or Andrew that they're not on the team, but what it reflects is that a very, very strong UL squad. That's what it can.
For sure. Yeah,
that's the message there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those 3 players you mentioned, Zach and the 2 UL lads, they're basically Limerick's soul, or well, not soul. They're the only 3 Limerick men in the competition, which is it's not great to see. We'd love if it was a dozen or so.
Colm Holmes with MTU Kerry.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, who's what club is he with?
Kilkenny Drumkean.
Okay, very good. Yeah, there's a lot of Holmes out there. Limerick just doesn't have the depth of players in third level at the moment for the football, unfortunately, but it can come in waves. Hopefully there will be a few more in time, but UL obviously targeting first ever Sigerson and I suppose well placed now to give it a really, really good go in the next few weeks.
Well, they have to play what's put in front of them from now on. They've had to do that all the time, but like they've had 2 statement wins, Tom, and both on the road, which MTU sort of fancied themselves this year, and I think they fancied themselves to turn over UL in the opening round. It didn't happen, and certainly DCU would certainly be looking, to have their campaign off the winning start, but that didn't happen, and they suffered a 9-point defeat, which and I read today where they suffered a defeat in the first round last year and came back and won it. I'm not so sure that they can replicate that this year. Like when you suffer a heavy defeat like that to a team that's going so well.
Was it not their second game? Winners had played winners last evening, and losers played losers. Am I wrong to say that? Had DCU not played it already in the competition? I could be wrong now. I didn't actually.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but nevertheless, a shot across the bow by UL. So very, very interesting result for them. So we'll keep an eye on those third level competitions as they progress towards the concluding stages, which happens around middle of February or towards the end of it even. But we will revert back to.
No, I'm happy to say UCC won in the first round of the Sigerson. and had a big win over ATU Sligo. It was played up in Edenderry, 318 to 12 points. So,
UCC, the Skull and Crossbones, are not gone away just yet. Okay, Matt. Moving to the Junior B hurling competition. Ballybrown got this competition underway last weekend. There was 1 or 2 games. There was a Leinster game on as well. I didn't catch the result of that one, but Ballybrown,
Nace won that particular one.
Yeah, Ballybrown far too strong for the side from Waterford, isn't there?
I was at it, Tom, and the game went exactly as I expected. Ballybrown played exactly as I expected, and that was excellent. And they are certainly going to be one of the teams to beat in this competition. They're back in action at 12 noon next Saturday, Tom. They play Aina Kilnamona from Clare, which if they do, it puts them into a Munster final, and it puts them into an All-Ireland semi-final.
Nice. Big prize enough for stuff.
Down a few players to illness at the weekend, so I I like the look of this Ballybrown team for the last 2 years and last 3 years actually. They've been there or thereabouts. I know they're your home club, Tom, but certainly they're going to be very, very, very strong contenders. And Aina Kilnamona, will have to be very good if they're to stop Ballybrown and get into the final. Now, like the other side, you have Silver Mines from Tipperary. Tipperary Junior B champions, Tom, are always pretty good. And Ballyclough from Cork, which would be Colm O'Neill's, the former Cork footballer, his club. He's not playing with him, but who's playing with him is Paul O'Flynn. Now, Paul O'Flynn he captained, and this might have little to do with the Junior B Championship, but he captained MTU to their only ever Sigerson Cup win about 10 years ago. But he's playing with Ballyclough. But I'm pretty confident, Tom, from what I saw last Saturday, and I'm going down there again on Saturday, that Ballybrown will progress. And just the way they approached the game, the way they did their warm up, and they're taking the competition seriously, and they're giving it the respect that it deserves. And if you take a good team to beat Ballybrown, and I've been saying that from the start of it.
Yeah. Well, I suppose Aina Kilnamona is their third team. It is Ballybrown's second team. So, but they have been sharpening their tools at Junior B level for a few years now, trying to get back out of it. Really, two county final defeats by a score to Monleen and Kildare and Pallaskenry, and didn't show on. Then they got their bit of luck with a winning goal against the Stakers in the county final. So yeah, look, well placed, and a big prize on offer winning at the weekend, as you say. It'll guarantee a Munster final and an All-Ireland semi-final. So
it wasn't just winning, Tom, it was the manner in which they won.
Blitzed the Waterford side out of the way, didn't they?
And their forwards were so good, like you'd Barry O'Connor, Ethan Keys, absolutely. Rob O'Brien, who wasn't named to start, but started. He got a goal and 3 points. And you'd Paul O'Neill, very good forwards. They're overall a very good team. Kevin Foster, an excellent captain and player at centre back. I really, really think, Tom, that it'll take a serious team to beat them.
Very good. I have connections in Silver Mines, so let's see if they end up playing them in the final. But anyway, we'll come to that. That was.
We have to get Go on the podcast the week before, so instead of you.
That's it. I know. Nobody involved as far as I know directly. But yeah, look, it's a well-run competition out in West Limerick, as we know. Okay, Matt, I think that's it from the hurling side of things. Camogie, we have minor action, I think, have we? Sorry,
we have a Munster minor semi-final in the RAG at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And
this is after Limerick beat Clare in the opening
round. No, beat Waterford.
Sorry.
3-16 to 2 points, I think.
It
was a huge score anyway. And Limerick were down 3 huge players. They were down their captain, Tara Hines from Bruff, has been named as the captain this year. Eve Cleary from St. Fanahan's was missing. And also Hazel Horgan, who was outstanding, you will recall, for Newcastle West in the senior championship. Hazel is eligible for. He's a near relative for former Limerick goalkeeper Seamus Horgan. He was missing, and the likelihood is that Tara Hines and Hazel Horgan will be back for the game against Tipperary, but Eve Cleary is unlikely to make it, still due to injury. But you must remember, Tom, that this is the team that won the All-Ireland under 16A 2 years ago.
Yep.
And last year they got to the All-Ireland semi-final, were beaten by Kilkenny. All of last year they were without Orna Barrett, who was the star of the under 16 captain and star of the under 16 team. Orna, thankfully, is back after being out.
Knockadairy's finest. I know her father some bit, so he'd be delighted that she's back.
I am, but she's a special talent, no question about it. She was back, and Tom was as if she was never away. She just picked up where she lived.
Yeah, that's great to hear. In fairness, yeah.
Where she left off, and talking to Dermot Ryan, he told me like that through the years, there has been nothing but a puck over ball between themselves and Tipperary. I know at one stage in the under 16, I think there was only a point in it, you know. So it's anything but a gimme now. And another player that has come on leaps and bounds is Rachel O'Grady. Now, Rachel, Natal's daughter. Rachel got the winning point in the All Ireland under 16 final 2 years ago. She was absolutely outstanding for Patrick Well in the Munster Junior final this year, and she carried that form over to the Waterford game, which was played in Munster. So they are a formidable team, a very formidable team, Tom. But you know that there's very, very little between the top teams, and when you're competing at A, you know, there's no such thing as an easy game. Now, Waterford, on the face of it, looked an easy game. But like when you're in with the likes of the Tipperaries, the Corks, the Galways and the Kilkennys, there's very little change to be got. You have to be at your best. And hopefully on Sunday that they'll book a place in the final against Cork.
Yeah, that's the plan. So wishing them the best. Yeah, it's very early in the new year, but already a Munster final place at stake. So it'll be great. If that could be Limerick's first of the year, I suppose, across any of the codes in the championships, of course. So it'd be nice to get the ball rolling very early on that front. Matt, anything else camogie-wise? I think that's where we're at. We're waiting, obviously, for next month for the National League and all that. So we will come to that in due course. You and myself and yourself were at different venues over the weekend. And with the East Limerick Awards to discuss. First of all, Ballylanders opened their, I suppose not opened their pitch. Their pitch is already open. They unveiled their new lights and kind of give them the seal of approval. Fantastic to see another club putting up the lights and adding to their facilities, because Frank Deneen Park, isn't it, in Ballylanders?
Frank Deneen Park, Tom, the man who bequeathed Croke Park to the GAA, you know.
Yeah, Deneen Hill 16. If anyone wondering why it says that on their tickets, there's the connection to
the man, you know, who was a native of Ballylanders. Yeah, Tom, it was a fantastic night out there, and the sense that you got right, it was the GA club at the heart of the community, and pulling all the strings, and the community coming together, and with the GA club and producing something very, very special, Tom, which is a floodlight lit pitch, and it's floodlit to the highest standards. So in terms of economy, it's as economical as they will come, because it is done with the latest technology. Now, there were some fantastic people that are behind it, and fantastic, fantastic people. At the risk of leaving out somebody, I won't name them, but the group that came together and the job that they have done, Tom, is absolutely fantastic. And they have a 5-year plan. They have a 5-year plan. This is year 2 of the plan. And years 1 and 2 have been carried out to the T. Absolutely, to the very T. And parts 3, 4, and 5 are not near as challenging, and certainly not near as costly. So, like the end product, Tom, for Ballylanders GA is going to be massive. It's going to put them right up there with the best facilities in the county and in the country for the club. Now, after the official turning on of the lights, which were turned on by Minister Patrick O'Donovan, Minister for Sport, there was the draw in Gallagher's Lounge for the
25,000 euro or 25, 20, no,
30,000 euros.
26 and yeah.
It was limited to 3,999 tickets. They sold 3,892. There was only 107 tickets unsold. And
some effort, yeah.
Between sponsorship and all, when the whole thing was put together, it yielded a profit of, wait for it, 122,000 euros. Yeah. So it was just a simple, it was just phenomenal effort. Now, the fundraising effort was led by two people that are well known around County Limerick for their football prowess, Danny Froon and Jimmy Barry Murphy. But the way they harnessed so many people and got so many tickets sold, it was absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So full credit to Bally. It's they have something to be very, very proud of. They have a plan. They're sticking to the plan. Sometimes clubs go in, Tom, and I've seen it over the years, with huge plans, huge 5-year plans, and get snookered. Usually, sometimes in year one or year two. But I think Ballylanders have all the heavy lifting done, Tom.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, I've actually trained under those lights. They're obviously there a while. They were officially launched.
That's how you won a county.
Yeah, that's it. We trained there the week of the county final because there was nowhere else really available at grass-wise. Or no, the week of the county, the semi-final or the final. So it was the week of the final we trained there once, and the week of the semi-final we trained there once.
Jimmy Barry was telling me the other night that you haven't seen any of his hard training yet, but you'll be seeing it properly for the Munster Championship.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that in due course. But no, great to see. Tremendous effort by all, and obviously they're great. They're great. The best floodlights or the good floodlights as you'll see, to grace the pitch. So it's fantastic. Just as well, Matt, obviously I think the same evening, was it Saturday evening? That was Saturday evening as well. Minister O'Donovan was on Saturday evening presenting medals for Gary Spillane. They obviously celebrated an under 20A and a Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship double at the Woodlands. A fantastic venue, a fantastic evening. I was lucky enough to be asked to be MC on the evening, and great crack and great celebrations by all. And they even celebrating their three, I suppose, lads who were on the county team. They nearly brought the house down with, Hugh Flanagan, John English and Dylan O'Shea, and I think everyone in the room is, urging them on with the seniors for the year, and hopefully they make the cut, as they say. But great crack and some great moments in it. So great for the club to mark such a great year that 2025 was.
2025 was a massive year for Gary Spillane. Gary Spillane came in this year with the attitude, Tom, and you knew it, that there was unfinished business from the year before. They felt right from the outset of the 2025 Premier Intermediate Championship that they didn't do themselves justice in the county final of 2024, and that they were going to atone for it. Now, they were pushed very, very hard. It was a tough competition. It was a very, very tough competition, and there is nothing easy got in the Limerick Premier Intermediate Hurling Championship. It's a very, very tough gig, and they won it in a penalty shootout. And but it gives you an idea, Tom, of the level of work that's going on in the Gary Spillane club, and we can see it's in full view, Tom. The work that's going on behind the scenes when you visit the Knocklong pitch, and every time you go there, there's improvements, and it's a fantastic venue now. And who will forget the night that Kilmallock and June played there in the Senior Hurling Championship? What a night it was. And
senior game played there, county senior game, yeah.
The ladies' football finals were played there as well, Tom, and it was a memorable day. It's a venue now that creates that atmosphere, but the work is going on in Gary Spillane, and I'm seeing it at first hand there beside him at underage as well. And if you win a Premier Intermediate Championship, Tom, and don't have to look very far where the conveyor belt. If you win the under 20A Hurling Championship, it's a big, big statement. And there was very few of a crossover. Hugh Flanagan was the main crossover between intermediate and there
was a few now, right? Yeah, there was. I can't remember. Yeah.
There were a few, but there wasn't this. Sometimes when you see with successful under 20 teams, they would have maybe 5, 6, 7 of the first team, the club's first team, but not in this case. I'd say it could be 3 or 4 at best.
3 or 4 starters, I think, and the bench heavily populated with the under 20s.
But you can see that the future is very, very bright for Gary Spillane. Now, they have suffered, defeat, relegation two years ago. They will have learned an awful lot from it. It's a totally different Garris-Ballan team that will be going up to senior ranks. I think the only resemblance will be the colour of the jerseys. I don't think that's anything else, and I think they'll be really, really well prepared for the senior championship. Alan Constantine did a great job there with his selectors and Johnny Ryan and co. And what a boost it is, Tom, for them to have the three players on the county team like Hugh Flanagan, Dylan O'Shea, and John English, and all to be acquitting themselves so well.
Yeah, they've done well so far. Yeah, for sure. And
just imagine, Tom. First game of the year, the Garris-Ballan dressing room. These three guys walk in. What a boost it will be.
Yeah.
So well done to the bouncers. And as I say, Tom, I'm near them there and I see it at first hand. And I'm never short of admiring that club.
Yeah, and a great evening at the Woodlands. Finally, Matt, I know
the Garris-Ballan people were telling me that it was conducted in the Treehouse. And
a great venue for such an event, to be fair.
Great venue, absolutely. They were universal that it was an absolutely great venue.
Yeah, completely contained within, and there's no one drifting off, and everyone is staying there in good company, and not too big, not too small. Perfect for that size of a crowd, and great food as well. So compliments to the Fitzgerald family as always from ourselves here at Treaty Talk. Matt, before the clock completely runs away from us, we must mention the East Limerick Awards, which took place in recent weeks, and you were there once again for another memorable, I suppose, evening in where was this held? Carricklish, was it?
It was held in the Millennium Centre in Carricklish, Tom, and it was tinged with great sadness early on, because the evening's business commenced with a tribute to one of the founder members of the project, the late Eddie Wade, who died last February. And for that reason, there was a lot of nostalgia there, open nostalgia for the contribution that Eddie Wade had made in his career, both to the GA and as a public representative, as a member of Limerick County Council, and as a member of Dáil Éireann. I'd served with him on Limerick County Council for 20 years. We were very good friends. We got elected to the council the same day in 1979. And Eddie was a larger-than-life character, and the contribution he made to the GA in his own quiet way, Tom, was absolutely phenomenal, because he came up with the idea of the East Limerick Awards. He was one of 2 or 3 guys that came up with it, and he really stuck with it. And it like, Tom, it's like a runaway train. It's a runaway success, and I cannot for the life of me understand why the other divisions didn't pick it up. It is so simple, and it is recognizing the contribution of people that haven't been recognized or wouldn't otherwise be recognized, and for that it's a phenomenal success. But the highlight of the evening was the presentation of the Eddie Wade Memorial Hall of Fame, and there was loud standing ovation for the first winner of it. The first to receive the award was Mary Fitzgerald of the Woodlands House Hotel.
Fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. I thought it was absolutely fantastic to recognize somebody that has done so much for the GAA. And like, Mary was born in Rockhill, but she spent most of her formative years in Ballybricken. I always thought she was a South Limerick woman, but she still is a South Limerick woman as far as we're concerned. But look, she's not South, East, West or City. Mary is Limerick. Absolutely fantastic. The contribution that Mary Fitzgerald and the Fitzgerald family and Woodlands House Hotel have made to them is simply phenomenal. And I'm talking about across all the codes: hurling, football, ladies football, and camogie. And during an interview with her, I conducted an interview with her publicly, and we got an insight as to what drives her. you know, and to see the respect that she has, particularly for junior competitions. And she mentioned the junior B competition, Tom, you'll be pleased to know.
I saw her there a few months ago, yeah.
Yeah, and the junior C competitions. And of course, she mentioned Camogie, and she mentioned ladies football, and she was accompanied on the night by members of her family, including Connor, a former dual star with Limerick and a dual Munster under 21 medal winner with Limerick in 2000. And what she was also accompanied by a lady that very few knew were her niece, and is her niece, and that's the Limerick Camogie captain, Caoimhe Costello.
Fantastic, yeah.
Who was also there on the night. But Mary was very, very, very popular, an absolutely popular, runaway popular winner of the Eddie Wade Memorial Hall of Fame Award. And I was absolutely delighted to be part of the evening and to see Mary recognised and see the contribution that the Woodlands have made to Limerick GAA recognised. And another awardee that night was a special award went to Josh Ryan. And it's great to see that Josh has the surgery behind him. He's walking. He walked up from the back of the hall to receive his Special Merit Award. And but Josh, unfortunately, is going to be out for most of the year. He informed me. I was just asking him how long he might be out, and he thinks he'll miss the whole year. Which is unfortunate, and we've spoken with Tommy Stack at Lent earlier in the programme. But overall, huge congratulations to the East Board, huge congratulations to the members of Shangale, and the people that started the awards and have sustained the awards. I think this was 23rd year. Absolutely fantastic, Tommy. It's a fantastic concept. And again, I say to the other divisions, why not?
For sure, yeah. No, well, congratulations to all the recipients, and indeed, well done to the East Board for delivering the event yet again for I suppose the turn of 25 and 26, and I'm sure they'll continue it into the future. So we'll look forward to it again next winter when it does come around. Matt, I think the clock has firmly beaten us. We hope to keep it around the hour, but sure, here we are at 100 and odd minutes. But anyway, great to have it. Great. Which?
We blame Tommy Stack.
Yeah, very good. Good to have you back, Matt. We'll be chatting again in the next few weeks. And do folks say hello if you're at a game or two that you might see us at over the next